ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another ZD Toys Iron Man unboxing and review video. Today we are going to be taking a look at not one, but two versions of the Mark III. ZD Toys makes a regular, straight-up version of the Mark III, but they also make a light-up edition. So of course, I had to pick up both so we can compare them. I will have the links to both versions down in the description below with toyswonderland.com. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here we have the box art for the two different versions of the Mark III. On the left here we do have the light up edition, denoted by this little tab up the top, and this one is just the regular version of the Mark III. But other than that, they are relatively similar. We do have the same image of the figure on the front of the box, except on the light up version we have this added effect of this more metallic sort of pattern. It looks really cool. But other than that, the boxes are pretty much identical between the two releases. We may as well just straight up open up the light up version because it is the more exciting of the two. Now, just like the Mark II unboxing, it opens to reveal that image with the inner workings of the Mark III with a really classy fabric tab on the front panel there. And here, of course, we have the figure himself. I loved that Mark II, and this guy looks just as good. More on that in just a second. Now you can see he does come with a bunch of stuff, plus a micro USB cable, so what we are going to do now is get all of the Mark III's accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all the bits and pieces that come with the regular version of the Mark III. The light-up version actually has a few different pieces, and we will talk about those in just a second. Starting off with the display base first, however, this is a very similar print to what we got with the Mark II. Iron Man Mark III with some nice gold lettering. We do also have a multi-jointed arm up the top here. You can also switch out this waist grabber for the crotch grabber, or combine this with the arms to have a combination of the two, a rather ingenious piece. You also get some blast effect pieces. Bringing in the Mark III, you can peg them in the feet and have him in mid-flight. But that's not all. You can take these blast effect pieces and the repulsor hands, peg them in, and have him blasting those pieces there. It looks really good. It's simple yet very effective. You also get some versions of the repulsor hands with the repulsor itself fully painted. Now you may be thinking, what could be different about the two releases? Well, the light-up version actually comes with these mini tank-busting missiles. So bringing that figure in, you simply, of course, detach that panel, which reveals some really nice detail there, and then you can simply peg these in. Now you may be thinking, can I just pick up the light-up version and switch this out onto my regular Mark III? Unfortunately, no, you cannot. This section does not detach on the normal version of the Mark III. You also only get two blast effects with the light up edition, and the display base only says Marvel Studios. You don't get that really nice Iron Man print. So yes, it's a similar array, but slightly different. What we are going to do now though is get the Mark III itself out here and take a closer look. And here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Yeah, that's the Mark III. He looks fantastic. Just like the Mark II that we reviewed on the channel recently, he shares a lot of similarities, and that's a good thing. The sculpt and the proportions are on point. And then on top of that, you get the gorgeous metallic paint applications that we'll talk a lot more about in just a second. Either way, what I'm trying to say is these figures have impressed me. This happens to be the light-up version that you're seeing in front of you right now, but if I hadn't said that, you probably wouldn't have noticed. They've hid the light-up features very well, and when you do turn them on, this guy looks awesome. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have him up close and personal. This happens to be the light up version. I have the non-light up version just here off camera, and we will do a comparison in just a second. But for all intents and purposes, they are pretty much the exact same thing, which is a good thing. Now, I quickly want to talk about the paint applications, because this thing all the way around looks like a super high quality, high-end item, and honestly it's not all that expensive compared to a Figuarts release, which is really impressive. The red has this beautiful candied metallic effect about it. Yes, it is a hot rod red and it looks stunning. The gold also has a metallic effect that picks up the light very nicely. Then there are panel lining effects, even all the way down to the gaskets in the gaps on the fingers. They are painted. There is silver, there's metallics dotted around for the extra detail sections. This guy looks gorgeous. And then, the pièce de résistance, if we flip him around and hit that switch, the arc reactor and the eyes light up marvelously. This is how they should have done all their figures, in my opinion, because the light up effect is so simple, yet so effective. There's no swapping of batteries or hidden compartments. You literally plug it in the back there with the micro USB cable, charge him up, and away you go. And you still get the full range of articulation, which Hot Toys didn't give us with their Mark III. It was a fixed torso. They didn't even go ahead and include a rechargeable battery pack like this guy has. I'm not saying by any means this is better than the Hot Toys Diecast Mark III, but it has done this one very simple thing better, in my opinion. Plus, the proportions look on point. This thing looks so realistic in hand. I know Hasbro is coming out with their Infinity Saga line, and they are bringing out a Mark III as well. But for me, if I had the choice between this and the Marvel Legends version, I would go with this 100% of the time. It looks that darn good. Now, comparing the two versions, they are almost identical, except for, of course, on the back, this guy has the removable panel, whereas this one doesn't. It's one fixed piece. Also, I've noticed the red on the light-up version is ever so slightly darker and potentially a little bit glossier. Other than that, they are identical, they move pretty much the same amount, and they both look and feel really awesome in hand, with a little bit more weight going into this guy just due to the light-up effects. As for the helmet, it looks equally as good as the Mark II did. It's a very impressive sculpt. And yes, it does have that bulky sort of look about it, like the Mark III had on film. You can also see some detail sections on the side here of the upper torso, and coming down to the boots, we do have those same little detail sections that I was gushing about on the Mark II. I don't know why, I just love the way that looks. Overall, yeah, so far, this being my second pickup in the line, I personally am really impressed. Now for our quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the Star Wars Black Series Bad Batch Hunter standing alongside the ZD Mark III. As you can see, the Mark III is substantially taller. That's perfectly fine, he's supposed to be. He's a 7-inch scale figure. I do think he will scale quite nicely alongside your Marvel Select figures. Potentially. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below because I don't own any of those, nor do I own any of the Marvel Legends releases, but nevertheless, just like with the Mark II review, hopefully this comparison helps some of you out at least to decide whether or not this guy is too big, or indeed too small, to fit into your display. Next up, here we have the Mark III standing alongside the previously reviewed Mark II. They are, of course, eerily similar because they are based on the same exact platform, at least they were in the movie. The big difference are the rivets, or the lack thereof, on the Mark III. It's much cleaner, it's much smoother, and the paint applications, I personally think, in figure format, look better on the Mark III. And then you have the light up feature, which sets the entire thing over the top. It's super simple and easy to use and activate, and it makes this thing look like it's actually alive. Either way, these two look pretty darn fantastic standing together. Just going over articulation on the Mark III. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now starting off with the head sculpt, this being the light up version, it is slightly more hindered due to the fact that the lights in the eyes do require some electronics, but you do have swivel and some subtle pivot side to side. The arms themselves are on the exact same joint mechanism as the Mark II. Of course, it was the predecessor to this design. So they do go up, forward and back, and there is a pull-out butterfly style ball joint. We do have a swivel at the bicep, a double bend at the elbow, and of course a ball joint down here at the wrist. As for the torso, even though it lights up, it still does pull upwards and has the exact same range of motion as the non-light up version. The legs themselves will go forward to about there until you drop them down, and they will go up slightly higher. There is a swivel up there as well, a double bend at the knee, and of course a ball joint down here at the ankle. Just wrapping up on the ZD Toys Iron Man Mark III, I guess both the light up and the normal version. First of all, which do I prefer out of the two? 110% the light up version. The way they've done the light up effect is so seamless that it has me sitting here wondering why Hot Toys haven't done the same thing, especially when it comes to the Mark II and the Mark III. Even in quarter scale, you have to go ahead and switch out a bunch of different batteries in various compartments. With this one, which is of a much smaller scale, you simply plug it in with a micro USB, it charges up, and then you hit the switch. That's it. It's super simple, and it works a treat. Plus, when it's lit up, he looks fantastic. So yes, he takes the win. But if you do just want to pick up the standard version of the Mark III, he is great as well. He has slightly improved head articulation and a very slightly lighter red paint application as well. But overall, they are very, very similar. The paint looks fantastic. It's really nice and glossy and punchy and vibrant and metallic. He has the moving flaps, some really good articulation, and also a bunch of hands and flame effects, and a display base. And for a price that, in my opinion, is more than reasonable, yeah, this guy takes it for the 7-inch scale Iron Man in my collection. If you are looking to pick up the Mark II, 3, 5, or 6, they are all in stock right now with toyswonderland.com, and of course the link for that is down in the description below. While you are down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.